And we're live. Welcome, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you are tuning in from. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. I'm your host, Pamela Gomez. With me tonight, I have a very special guest. This is her second time with me, and we are actually doing part two. My guest is Miss Terry Johnson. And Miss Johnson.
Hello. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Terry is a digital marketing consultant based in New York City. And I am so delighted to have you back here with me again to do part two of this show.
Yes.
And I must ask Terry, what is the weather like? I've heard New York is cold and snowing, and I had a friend who was snowed in. How about you?
Yes, it is. We've got snow, we had blowing wind, we had high winds, we had cold. But I mean, that's a typical New York winter. We're used to it. So it wasn't like a big deal. I mean, I even went out in the so-called blizzard, and I was like, this is not like a blizzard. So I've been in New York over 20 years, and I've seen snow worse than this. So I was like, no.
I got a little something
to share. Beautiful weather you had, like the beautiful weather you are.
I'm actually cold, Terry, and it's like 72 degrees right now.
Oh my goodness, cold.
Yes, Terry, I'm wearing footies.
Oh my goodness.
Pleasure of working from home. You can wear your bedroom slippers at home.
Yes.
And, I actually had some hot chocolate a little while ago because it was a little chilly after it got dark.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
So 72 degrees is chilly, hot cocoa weather.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it.
You're welcome to come and enjoy it.
I want to come. I wish I was there now.
Terry, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Well, like you said, I'm a digital marketing strategist. I'm also I'm a web developer. I do SEO, email marketing, social media, setting strategy for small businesses. I kind of do it all just about. So well-rounded in that. I have, like 20 years experience with working with the private sector, with advertising, and working with federal government. I worked for a federal government agency for a long time as a web developer and IT support. So I do a little bit, all of it except for hardware. I don't touch hardware. I'm strictly software. Anything really? Software based.
Okay, that's wonderful. So am I. I started out doing management information systems, and give me anything software, I would run with it. But
yes,
I never really did get into the hardware and taking machines apart.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I've done it in the past, but I was more on the software side. So, whenever the servers went down or anything needed to be, hard drive replacements, all of that, I didn't do that. That we had people to do that. So and especially when you work with the government, you have a specific job and you can't really touch anybody else's job. It's very specific. Like if you're hired to do web development, you do web development. If you're hired to be a network admin, you do network admin. You don't touch. So it was very segmented that way. And I had to switch from coming from advertising, private industry, where I kind of did everything. They asked me, "Oh, can you do this?" Sure, I'll do that. And so it's a different sides of it.
Yes, I tested the waters as well. But before we go any further, I have to mention a few things right here that we are sponsored tonight by a company by the name of O Natural Aromatherapy that I happen to own.
Yeah.
And also, I have to give a big shout out to a couple of persons who are listening in by way of mobile devices and also desktops. I want to shout out to Eileen Smith, Beauty Bubble, Alfredo Tigolo, Robert Lewis, and I cannot forget my Patreons, Patty Johnson, Jennifer Aikman, Naomi Wallace Whitfield, and Collie Mae Ferguson. These persons have been with this show from inception. So I want to say a big shout out to them. And I'm sure each of them listening in is going to take some nugget away from what you share with us tonight, because each of them have an interest either in technology or wanting to use social media for their brand or personal business. So in that regard, we left off in talking about social media platforms that could be used for live streaming. And one of them that comes to mind, and I'm sure yours, our all-time favorite was Blab.
Yes, Blab. Oh, Blab was a special unicorn in the live streaming universe. It was a perfect tool. I mean, you had the ability to have 4 people on camera. The person running the Blab or being the producer could bring people in. They could kick people out. They could, delete things in the chat. And it's a multi-platform where you had people on camera and then you had a separate conversation going on in the chat feature. So it was really great.
Yes, it was. And I got my start on Blab, I must admit. I started with Periscope. And within a week of me being on Periscope, thanks to Tina Hines, another person that I got my start with, thanks to Tina, she introduced me first to Periscope and then to Blab. And it was on Blab that I met a whole cadre of persons all over the world, from the average stay-at-home mom to the CEO of companies to, I mean, everyone, all parts of the world, the Netherlands, China, Scotland. And even today, that has evolved, that I now have a connection with these persons all around the world. And I have Blab to thank for that. But tonight, I don't want to focus on Blab so much. I want to focus on the tools that they could use now that are actually around. And I have created a list, and I'm going to share this with you right now and my audience. These 7, well, actually 14. Last week we did Facebook Live. We talked about Periscope, Snapchat, Instagram, Busker, YouNow, Huzzah. And this week, I want to start with Zoom.
Okay.
Would you elaborate a bit about Zoom? Are you familiar? Do you use it? And do you promote it for live streaming?
Yes, I've used Zoom for meetings. I haven't used it for live streaming, but I'm assuming that, that once you get into the Zoom platform and use it, it's probably the same. Zoom I've used to meet with clients because it has the ability to record the meeting and you have chat and some other features. I'm reading or understanding that Zoom is now going to have a connection to Facebook Live where you can have, start your Zoom, have people come in and have a setup where you can have several people on screen and have that pushed to your Facebook page as a live stream. So that option is really exciting.
I got really excited about that too. And I was a little disappointed when I found out it was only available to the paid version, but
yes, you have to have the paid version, and I believe you have to have the webinar feature also. I will double check that, but that's the information I have now, that you have to have a webinar feature, and unfortunately you do have to pay for that option. But Zoom is a good tool. I mean, I've used it for meetings, client meetings, and they have a limit of 40 minutes, I believe. I'm looking into getting a Zoom account just because I may want to go over the 40 minutes, but I haven't really. So, but it's a good tool.
I agree. I totally agree. The other tool I'd like to talk about is FireTalk.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use that? And what do you recommend?
Okay, now I do a show every Tuesday at 1 p.m. with the Biz Chicks, which is Francine Gregory and Terralina Austin. They're out on the West Coast in California, and they have a channel on Fire Talk where they do a show every weekday at 1 p.m. and it's different topics and different people. Now the Fire Talk option was the one where when we went from when we were kicked out of Blab. I mean, there's no other way to say it. We were kicked out. A lot of people decided to go to Fire Talk and try it out. And that was just one of the places that we landed up. And Fire Talk had some issues where they changed their pricing system right after the Blab move over. The people moved over from Blab. And unfortunately, that left a bad taste in people's systems, where they decided to move from Fire Talk to other places. And we're using Fire Talk now, but we could move to any one of these platforms. So you really need to be platform independent. I like to tell people, you know, if you're going to do one, stick with one and make it one of the big ones like Facebook or Instagram. Excuse me.
I totally agree. When we left Blab, Fire Talk was the place that most of us went and started our accounts. And I still have an account there, but unfortunately it's only 10 minutes for the free viewers. The other thing I'd like to talk about is BeLive.tv. Can you tell us, share with us, and do you recommend this for someone starting out?
Now, BeLive TV is one of the new players on the scene, and the feature that it sells it the most is that you have a two-person interview style side by side, and you can bring in comments from the people watching in the audience from the chat. So you can feature comments that are in the chat, and you can feature them on screen. Now, that's the selling point. I've used BeLive when it first came out. I have not used it lately. I'm assuming that they've done some updates. It was a little buggy in the beginning. The video was a little choppy. I'm assuming now, months later, that they've done some upgrades, and it seems to be pretty stable now. I've seen a lot of Facebook Live videos where people are using BeLive. So it's a good option.
I used BeLive just yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And it was a wonderful experience. I interviewed the one and only Mr. Jonathan Tripp, and it was a wonderful experience, but I gotta say, it was not glitch free.
Okay. See, so they have not worked out the issues. It was really glitchy in the beginning, which kind of turned me off, but I did try it. And if they can get rid of the, you know, the jittery, glitchy video, it would be a good option. Very good option.
Yes, I totally agree with you in that regard. But I love the lower thirds that you can put on your screen. I love the fact that they've recently added an agenda, so you can have your agenda scrolling or shown to your audience as you present. The other thing I like about it is it streams live to Facebook.
Yes.
So your Facebook viewers, your Facebook audience can come in and ask questions and be a part of the live broadcast. And that for everyone is an asset. What can I say? It's a wonderful thing to have. The other platform I'd like to talk about a bit that I would recommend to someone starting out is Smile Time. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I love Smile Time. I've loved it since it came out. It came out in August of 2016. And Smile Time, the creator behind Smile Time, he's come from a video background, a video platform such as it was Hulu that he started out, and his background is there. So he comes from a video background. Not to say that anybody else does it, but you know, your approach to how you start a channel is a good thing. So the CEO comes on, Alex, not sure of his last name, but he comes on, he has a channel, he comes on the Smile Time, he has office hours, some of the other community managers come on, and they let you come, you know, ask your questions. So they're really open to that. And I love Smile Time because the option is really easy to use. You have a connected, you sign up with a Facebook connection. It goes to Facebook Live. It can broadcast to your pages. I love that. It also has different layouts where you can have a two-person interview side-by-side layout. You can have a big screen with 3 smaller squares on the side, on the top, on the bottom. And when you're not broadcasting on Smile Time, you can make a show card, a graphic image that's advertising your show when you're not live. And also when you go live on Smile Time, your channel gets bumped up to the top of the page where you get to see every channel. So when you go to Smile Time, if someone's live, their card, their show card, their show will be at the top, and they'll have a red button that says live, so you know they're live. So you get pushed up to the top.
That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But the other thing I want to mention, the other platform that I only recently heard about in a broadcast was something called Snapfit TV. It's SNAPPD .TV. Never used it, but it's an option that's out there. Have you heard of it or used it?
No, I haven't, but I will check it out after tonight. I will check it out.
Well, we both will be looking more
into
it. Okay, great. That's fabulous. Now, this particular platform, one of my favorites, it is one of my favorites. It's Appear.in. Now, there's a free version, which I love, and there's a paid version. Okay, I use it all the time with my work and focus group, and I want to give a big shout out to my work and focus group, Alfredo, Beauty, Eileen, and Bo, and all the rest of them, Robert. You guys rock, and you know it. So Appear In is the place that we go. It's free, and there is a paid version. There are some benefits to having the paid version, as always, but I like it because I can talk to my dear friend in Scotland, Mr. Fraser. Fraser's last name, I can't remember. Fraser in Scotland every day without paying a dime. We just log on to Appear.in. We share ideas. We can share screen. And the quality of the video and the voice is really good. The only problem is with my connection. When I bump into my internal wires, we may have a little tech issue, but all in all, it works fabulously. Have you tried Appear.in?
Yes, I have. I feel the same way about it that you do. I use the free option, and the quality is great. You know, I haven't had any problems with it. I love the fact that you have your room, and when people come in, they have to knock and different things like that. But I didn't know they had a paid option. I'm going to check that out. Is there what are the benefits to the paid versus the free? What do you get?
With the paid version, and I've tested it with my dear friend, Miss Eileen Smith. In the paid version, she can actually share a screen, and you have two monitors or two windows open at the same time. In the free version, you don't. The other thing is, I think the number of persons that can come into the room, you have all the other features of the free version, but there's just a few other benefits that are quite good, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. I didn't know that, but I love it. And the fact that Appear has the mobile option is a good selling point too.
Yes, it does, and I use that as well on my Android. I'm sorry, on my iPhone. I have not tried it on an Android, and I believe it is there too. Eileen, if you're in the chat, if you can confirm for me that it does work. Appear.in does work on an Android phone. But it is lovely. I love it. I use it for work and focus. I use it if I want to have a private meeting with someone, one of my clients that's abroad. We can use Appear.in or Skype as an alternative, but it gives you a free alternative to have that one-on-one, face-to-face meeting that many marketers or a person starting out may need as an entrepreneur. You don't want to run up that hefty phone bill on a conference call. So lastly of my list, I have the big one. YouTube Live, where we're at right now. And we know this used to be our hangout. So, or hangouts Google Hangouts, now merged with YouTube, called YouTube Live. What are your thoughts? How would you recommend it to someone just starting out? Let me hear from you.
I wouldn't say just starting out, because there are a few steps that you have to go through. I'm still waiting. Well, the good news is that YouTube has come out with the mobile version of Live, where you can use your phone or your mobile device to go live. So once they get that going to everyone, then I would say yes, a beginner, go ahead and go crazy with Live on YouTube. I love YouTube because I love Google. I've been a Google fan for a long time. I was on Google Plus for a long time. I know about the Google Hangouts on Air, and I'm glad that they've unhooked YouTube and some of their products from Google Plus, because it just kept people from trying out what Google has. And Google's a kind of company that they will just try stuff out and just go, okay, yeah, that's interesting, and they may develop it and they may not. But YouTube is such a gigantic thing to use that it's not even about video. It's more about searching and being found and learning and education. That's the part that I love about it.
Okay, I just want to share a bit from our viewing audience that they have been putting in the chat. Alfredo reminded me that Snapfit TV is used to discover persons on, I believe it's that Snapchat platform. And he also well, Eileen says she's on an Android phone right now, and she is tuned into this YouTube Live from her iPhone. The other thing about appear.in, Alfredo says it is limited to 8 persons on the free version, and I think that's a bit more on the paid version.
Okay, that's good.
Beauty Bubble says to us, yes, Beauty Bubble says to us, and I want to say, hey, Beauty, a stroke of genius was Facebook Live with Wirecast, with Appear In, a crazy potential blab alternative. She further says, Ross Brand gave it a try this week and it looked great.
Oh, great.
That's from our chat over in the corner. Alfredo says, Androids with Appear.in works great. I haven't tried it. Thanks. That's great to know. But it needs a stronger phone to work, so you can't just get any Android. It must be a strong Android. Boy, Terry, we sure covered a lot again today in this 30 minutes. It's now after. But any last words, any recommendations for our, let's say, small entrepreneurs starting out? What would you recommend that they have to start live streaming?
If they're going to start and we got an echo.
I don't know where that came from, but let's just check.
Okay, how about now?
It's gone.
Okay. You still hear it? I hear it. Maybe it's me.
I'm not hearing it. It's gone.
All right, good. So I always say you start out with the big guy. And if it's easy to use it. That's Facebook Live. Because now Facebook has the mobile option. They now have the desktop option. They have the option to go live from a group. They have the option to go live from a page. So my first thing is to just do it. Do it. And if you're using Facebook and you love it, go on Facebook and do it from there. You don't have to broadcast to the public. You could do it private. You could do only me. And if you want to test it out, you could just do live and have it saved, and it's private. And then once you're ready to share it, you can just change the option and say, okay, I'm going to do friends, I'm going to do public, or I'm going to go to, I'm going to use it that way.
I love what you just said, Terry. Just do it. And that's how I took the initial plunge. I just did it. And I haven't stopped ever since. And it's been about 2 years now, starting initially with Periscope, then to Blab, I've gone on to now using Instagram Live, like
Yeah.
Miss Eileen does every morning. Yeah, we missed that one. Instagram Live. Um, that seemed to be catching on pretty well, and it's taken away from the Snapchat viewers, if in my opinion anyway. And I want to say hello to a friend of mine all the way in Turkey that's tuned in. Hi, how are you, Turkey, in the house? Beauty Bubble says, no, Doug, we love live. We sure do. Because I don't know what I was doing without it. Writing
We love live.
email marketing.
I don't even remember.
I was writing letters and trying to create contacts with my Google Plus or my Gmail contacts. I was sending them notes anytime I was doing anything. So that's how I was reaching out to my contacts. Well, Terry, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you here with me on a Friday evening. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing all that you have shared with me tonight and my audience. Any last final thing you want to say, or tell us how we can?
I'll say I enjoy speaking to you. I mean, we have such a good time when we're talking. We had a great time last time, and I say just go live. Just do it. Don't let it don't let it stop you. Just try it and see how you like it.
Well, Terry, I'm going to try and do an after show where we've signed off with our chat viewers, but I want to say to them, thank you all for tuning in and being a part of the chat. I really appreciate you all. And we'll be back here again next Friday evening at 7 p.m. for another interesting interview all about technology. You can find me at Tech Talk Live. Our website is techtalklive242.com, and I'd appreciate it if any one of you can put that in the chat. And also, you can find me on Twitter at Tech Talk Live 1. Should you have any questions about live streaming, you want to learn how to live stream, I'll be doing a live stream class in appear.in in the near future. So if you're interested in being a part of the class, feel free to reach out to me at Tech Talk Live 1 on Twitter. With that, I say good evening to you all, and thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.